Cheers to episode 149.
Cheers.
You guys see my mug?
Have a great day.
But did you see when I drank?
No. You put your pinky up?
Alex froze. There he is.
No, I didn't.
Ready? Can you guys see me?
Mm-hmm. Love that.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Got that from the White Elephant Christmas Eve. I chose to keep it. That was the last pick. I could have picked any gift there. I wanted that. I'm drinking tea. What did you guys drink?
Oh, I have water because I've been drinking a lot since Cody's been here. So I'm trying to slow her down.
Alex, you got a bender to start the year.
Finishing off my binge week with Miller Lite.
Very nice. I'm excited to get into your guys' adventures, but first, let's set the scene. It is Tuesday, January 9th. Alex is locking up the apartment. I think I can hear him in the background. It is 8:02 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:02 p.m. Central Time. It's a dark and stormy night in Michigan. Dark and stormy. What's it like there in Houston, Cody? Weatherman on the ground?
It's pretty dark. It's like mid-50s, so it's pretty nice out for Michigan. I didn't really want to come here and start sweating and then go back to the freezing cold, so it's kind of nice just to have the temperature that would be 2 weeks before summer.
Okay.
It's kind of nice.
It was warm yesterday, though.
Yeah, it was like 70s.
All right.
But rain, thunderstorms.
A mild temperature in Houston, but despite the bad weather here in Michigan, it's a celebratory night across the state because in the year 2024, season 2023, Michigan is the best college football team in the entire country. Undisputed. It finally happened. The podcast bump continues. The sports teams that we cover, it might be one of both ways. They're either the worst team of all time, the Pistons, or we just rise teams to success. Both the Lions
rise teams or raise teams?
We lift.
You said we rise.
Now you're putting him down.
We rise.
We rise. We rise teams.
Check that. Thank you, Alex. Way to keep me dialed in here. So yes, that's what we're going to talk about a lot tonight. We're going to talk about what you guys have been up to in Houston, how my week was. I don't really have much of a weekly recap. We're going to talk about the title game, the college football season finale in Houston. Did I mention that's where you guys are at? Then we're going to get into Lions versus Rams preview. Not really much to discuss from Lions Vikings, although I guess that'll be part of my weekly recap, having gone to the game. Then we can talk about NFL playoffs, some storylines if we have time. And then, but before we get out of here, no matter what, Alex will give his New Year's resolutions, not New Year's Eve. Finally. So without further ado, I think you guys, unless you have separate things to talk about, for those watching, Cody is rewatching the Michigan-Washington game, so you saw that fist bump there. Good thing for Michigan must have just happened.
First play of the second half.
Oh,
pretty exciting.
What a great pick. Also, I know people are going to be wondering, Evan, where is he? Don't worry. We will get I'll ask him a couple questions next week. People are going to think that he ducked on purpose because there is a quote graphic out there that said if Michigan ever won the title, he would delete all of his social media accounts and go off the grid for several weeks. That is not the case. He is alive. He's functioning. He had a commitment to a basketball practice that was not supposed to be tonight, which then became tonight. So that is where he is at, working, grinding after his day job. So that's why. Alex, credit to him. Credit to any Spartan Buckeye listening tonight. Standing in the fire listening to this, but credit to Alex for being here, for showing up.
Thanks.
To do it with two Wolverines, Cody. And credit to Cody for being here, having the week of his life, the vacation of a lifetime in Houston with Alex. And he says, you know what? Yeah, I'd love to talk about this game a little bit more with the boys. Perfect. That's what tonight is all about. So without further ado, if you guys have individual stuff to talk about, fine. But I think both of you should do your weekly recaps together of what's been happening in your lives in the Lone Star State.
Take her away.
Well, I had some miles left. So back in November, I booked the flight to Houston to see my friend Alex and tried to get some other guys to come with me, but nobody would. So
no one really likes me.
2 weeks before the Ohio State game, I was just like, man, I hope Michigan's in Houston. And so it wasn't even like I was going here for the game, but it just so happened that Michigan got to be here when I'm here. So pretty cool. I got a cheap flight and then got here on Thursday. And it's Tuesday right now, and I'm still here. So it's a kind of a long time in Houston.
I didn't even realize it was that long.
Like, I'm going to be here for 7 days, 6 nights sleeping.
Wow.
So thank you, Alex, for bringing me back to my college roomie days. Wake up in the morning, see his beautiful face, say goodbye, have fun at class. I mean, work. I'll be here.
Same shit.
So we got here. We went out, had some good food. Went to a bar. Went golfing. Alex did beat me in golfing for the first time in probably 2 years. So that's pretty cool.
Not necessary, but yes, I did.
Yeah, first time I touched the club since August. I shot 82. It's pretty solid at a new course. Different type of sand, different type of ground. Zoysia grass, I think it is.
Texas golf, I think, would be in your favor.
Yeah, that's really easy to hit out of the rough.
A little bit. And it's all fairway-like.
Yeah. And, I mean, I started off, I think I was like 7 or 8 over through the first like 5 or 6 holes. And it was a struggle. Like, I hoselled a couple balls. And, yeah, it was... Then to come back and get an 82 after that, I'm ecstatic. So
that's because you weren't super sticky, I'm guessing.
No.
Super sticky.
He was not super sticky.
Not super sticky.
You can't do that.
Illegal in Texas.
Yeah.
Had Alex played this course before?
No. It was a really nice course. We actually got paired up with 2 Texas guys, and they were both around our age.
Texas forever.
And every time we warmed up to each other pretty quick, and then we took fireball shots with the guys, and Alex and I just kept saying Texas forever
to them.
We would cheers them and be like Texas forever.
So some callback to the Friday Night Lights. Texas, they're Texas people. They're straight Texas. So. Had a lot of fun. And then, game day. Woke up, had to work. Sunday, we didn't do anything. We stayed in. We chilled all day.
Tired.
Yeah.
I actually got food poisoning Saturday night, so.
Facts.
Threw up. Haven't thrown up, like, from non-booze in a long time, so that was pretty weird.
Yeah. So then, we both had half days on Monday. Tyler, won't say his last name, came up from Dallas and immediately came down. Sorry, I don't know where I'm at in Texas right now. Immediately after my meeting ending at 3 p.m. Eastern, started pounding beers. And
Cody pounding beers was an understatement. Tyler pounding alcohol as well, understatement.
Yeah, wow. We were. I was primed up for the game, to say the least. I had a lot of nerves going in. Started really
a lot of shuffleboard.
Yeah, we played shuffleboard. Went to this bar. It was pretty cool. Was very afraid that they weren't going to play the sound for the game because there was just music playing. And I was like, no way, earlier, no chance.
And I was like, Cody, they're going to play it. And he's like, dude, what if they don't?
That was like I had to find something else to worry about, so that's what I did.
They played music during commercials, Kirk Herbstreit during the game.
Yeah.
That was like me, Cody, at the Rose Bowl. I kept worrying that they weren't going to put down the TV tent. Like, you just find stupid things to get consumed about because you don't want to think about the game.
Mm-hmm.
I can relate to that.
But yeah, then we just kept drinking throughout the game. And then, like Alex said earlier, I think it was about 3 or 4 minutes left in the game. I probably drink
Cody's drinking.
I think I doubled up. I think I doubled up my alcohol from that point, buying green tea shots and
they started doing shots. And I was just like, it's Monday night, guys. Like, there are other people around.
Alex was out there for like a little bit of our first cigar, and then he went to bed. Still could hear us. We were right outside his window.
Basically, I was sitting on the porch with them. I had to put on my noise-canceling headphones once it got to like 11:30. They've been out there for an hour. I'm like, all right, I can't listen to these guys talk anymore.
We both smoked a good cigar. And
also,
then we both smoked Black and Mild.
Both of them called every single person in their contacts. They were connected to my speaker, which I should not have given them a speaker to begin with. And I hear Cody screaming to his friends on FaceTime. I was like, you got to be kidding me, man.
Wait, so Tyler's like Cody where he's a Michigan fan?
Yeah. Yes.
What a perfect storm. I guess I didn't really know that.
It was a regret inviting Tyler.
No, it was perfect.
Wait, because I saw, didn't he have a Michigan State shirt on? I saw one.
No, it was good that they had each other during this game. Yeah, he went to Michigan State, and he's not like willing to fully embrace Michigan. He's not going to like wear their shit. But
now, one thing I will say, like we were at the bar, and I don't know if this is like the right thing that Alex should be saying during the game, but all he kept telling me, and it kind of started getting on my nerves. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride.
I said it 4 times total.
Because every time a bad player it started getting close, and I was like, "Oh." Well,
Cody was like to the point his nerves where he was going to throw up. I'm like, dude, I was
nauseous.
Enjoy it. You're up 14. Like, relax. Or you're up 7. I was like, you're still winning.
I was like, we're up 14. We're up 14, and he's like, just enjoy the ride, man. Like, Alex. So
he appreciated it in the moment. He did.
He's like the guy from Happy Gilmore. Block out the bad, harness the good. Like,
I
not now.
Did not openly root for Washington. I even high-fived after a Donovan Edwards touchdown, just because Tyler made me. He just would not put his hand down until I high-fived him, so I had to.
Spartans would hate to
I think
that.
I was very, very respectable as a fan. I could have been a nightmare, and I thought I held pretty strong.
Yeah.
Especially with the intoxicated level of the other two.
Yeah, we came back and we even drank another beer once we got back. And
hell yeah.
These tall guys. So
you gotta drink when you're smoking. You have to.
That's what I mean. Championship cigar. That photo of who was it?
JJ?
No, Charles Woodson.
Charles Woodson looked just like Cody.
He looked just like me.
If Cody was black.
Yeah. I was just gonna say I don't really see the comparison.
And a Hall of Famer defensive back. Yeah, that would have been Cody.
I recommend.
That was pretty much it. After that, I mean, it was a great. I woke up this morning feeling the cheesiest.
Definitely hungover. Cody was definitely hungover when he woke up.
Feeling the cheesiest.
I woke up the cheesiest. That's all I could keep thinking about last night when I was like going to sleep. I was like, I'm going to wake up.
You should have saw the scene in the living room when I walked out there this morning. Like, Cody is laying. He has like one couch cushion under his like left leg, a couch cushion under his head, and then a couch cushion for like his arm. And he's just like spread out, laying on his back in the living room. I'm like,
in my defense, I was pretty much up by then, so I was just like getting as comfortable as possible.
It just looked so ridiculous. Yeah, but that's that.
Any barbecue? Did you guys go to that barbecue spot by Alex's?
I don't think either of us. I'm not a big barbecue guy, and I don't think Cody's the biggest barbecue guy either.
I mean, I don't seek it out. Like, if somebody brings it to work, like, and has it for like the whole company, I'll eat it. But
it's just not.
Like, I'm not gonna
basically. Yeah, if you put it on a plate in front of my face for free, I'll eat it. I guess. But
when if Evan ever comes, that's when I'll go. But
that's nice. That's fair to give him that.
But I don't need it.
The only reason I didn't go for the listeners is because the Rose Bowl
you don't have to just tell everyone why you don't like us.
I want to get to Houston.
Also, I'm going to have to ask you about that pro shop in Pasadena. So I'm going out there next week, and I'm going to go find some like Rose Bowl stuff.
All right, let me write
Cody, you won the Natty. Are you sure you don't want just Natty gear?
Will you buy me something, Cody? I'll
yeah, that's what
I'll pay extra.
I knew you. I was listening the other week and I knew you like didn't get it.
Well, Grant made a huge mistake.
Oh my god, the biggest blunder I've ever made in my life.
Yeah, I want a Rose Bowl.
Not the biggest. I
just the Rose.
The biggest blunder actually occurred on Sunday. And I think since you guys won the Natty, you should have to tell that story for the public.
Sorry, I didn't want to cut Cody off. He wants a little Rose Bowl on a what type of polo or a quarter zip or what?
I want a quarter zip, and I want one of like the simple. You describing it in your recap last week, it was just like, yeah, I need that. So
you didn't see the picture?
I'll send you a picture of the hat. A guy had a hat.
No, I didn't see
they
it.
basically have like that. It's like the rose, and then it says America Stadium, and they just put that logo on like a bunch of different things.
It's clean, bro.
Alex can send it if he finds it. Because one of the Michigan Twitter accounts said, like, I think I found the best hat of all time and posted it. And I was like, oh my God. Because then someone said, where did you get that? And he goes, the Pro Shop. I was like, I'm such an idiot.
Yeah, I'll be going because I'm going to be there for I think 2, maybe 3 days. And I know I won't be busy the entire time, so I can take an hour drive up to Pasadena.
Oh my God. Sounds amazing. Is that all for you guys?
Yeah, go home tomorrow morning. Uber's picking me up 8 a.m. Then I'll be back in Michigan by 6:30.
Then we can all get back to our normal lives, even though Cody's going to
a champion
California in a week.
Hell yeah, Cody. You're going to miss him, Alex. You're going to miss him a lot.
You miss me.
Yeah.
Miss him already. It's in the other room. For me, I don't feel like I had a ton from this week. I went to the Lions game on Sunday with listeners Ben, and Cody with the C. Cody with the K, some technical difficulties?
No, I'm solid.
You turned your camera off on purpose?
I did.
Cody's a master of business Zooms. He knows when he needs privacy.
No, I'm... Dude, I do it for work all the time. But right now, this blanket's got to go because it's making my legs sweaty.
Went to the Lions game.
No, leave it.
Leave it. That's your reactions.
No, that should be so good.
No.
Dude, you should leave that.
I joined the club. I did what Alex said he would do if Michigan State beat Michigan during the COVID year.
There you go.
Went to the game. Lions Pro Shop. It was kind of a weird game. Normally, I'm a kind of a nerd, I would say, or a purist. Like, I want to get there 15 minutes in my seat before kick, and I'm comfortable sitting there like the entire game, except for like leave for a quarter or leave for like in between quarters to grab something, maybe halftime rush. But like the entire first quarter, we just walked around the concourse and like went to the pro shop.
So yeah, I barely even watched it.
Went to the pro shop, went to Coppercraft Distillery, got a nice whiskey, went to Big Boy, got some Slim Jims, and then we come back.
You went to Big Boy and got Slim Jims? I have not had a Slim Jim in so long.
It was pretty good.
Isn't it just a ham and cheese sandwich with pickles?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's gas.
Something about the way they cut it. I don't know what it is.
It was sesame seed bun.
They put a lot of mayo. Yeah, sesame seed. You got it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's real good. I could eat one right now.
Did that. Game. There was nothing crazy from the game, really. It was a pretty tame crowd. It wasn't that
Anybody
loud.
buy a jersey?
No, the pro shop was super underwhelming. They did have a lot of jerseys, but I was just looking for a, Nike Dry Fit Stay in My Lane. They had all this like exclusive merch deals with different companies. They didn't have like this fastball down the middle Nike normal shirts. So that was a quick one. Walked in and out. That was pretty much my week. Led into Monday, which leads us into the game. Michigan, Washington. I have a lot of notes that I wrote down, just thoughts I want to get off my head. But first, I'd like to play a good host to our Michigan State friend, Alex. If you have any questions for Cody or I'm sure you guys have talked about this.
No.
At length. Oh, no.
I was working today.
Good. If you have any questions for Michigan fans, I want you to get those off your chest to start.
This is not a question from me. Just want to make sure everybody's aware this is not coming from me.
So it's going to be mean.
Yeah, I'm feeling that too.
I don't know. I wouldn't view it as that. Now there's a lot of like jealous fan bases out there, as there should be, right? You guys won the title. People are sad. Some people are mad. I'm, just pretending nothing happened. I'm just very indifferent about it all. It's just my approach to it. But I was seeing and receiving some things today that says, well, it's all just going to get taken away anyways, blah, blah, blah. So my question would be, if it were, which, by the way, I don't think it will, if it were to get, like, taken away, right? They'll take it away. Like, if you look in the record books, it won't be there, whatever, vacated. That doesn't matter to you guys, right? No matter what? Like, you don't.
No, it doesn't matter. No.
Reggie Bush is still the most electric running back I've ever seen in college football.
Like, it won't, like, if that decision came out next year, middle season, you guys wouldn't be upset about it. You would just be like, yeah, who cares? We won.
I would laugh and just be like, okay, cool. Go blue. Champs.
Okay. That was my first question.
Alabama.
I would do the same. I wouldn't care.
On that storyline, I guess I'll just use different points and we can come back to more questions you have. But that's something I wrote down where who said this? I don't know. It was covered because I did the classic media sweep, listening to the different podcasts that are out. It was either Cover 3 or Klatt that was talking about, if you think back to this season, how different it would be if Ryan Day, that little weasel, gets in Pete Thamel's ear and rats on us. If he waited till the season was over, like, what if all the Connor Stallion stuff came out now? People would really be putting asterisk, and we'd look at this so much differently. They almost screwed themselves doing it middle of the year because it backfired so bad that they fired him, and then we beat like 5 top 25 opponents without him. It's crazy to think about.
Yes, it's a good point.
So I hope
there'd be a bigger asterisk on this if it came out not like this morning. It was like scandal. First of all, how we were feeling right away, like, oh my god, what's going on? Jim's definitely gone now. Like, it's helped probably the trajectory of the entire like sports. Like, I don't even know. Like, I think we are better for it. It gave our team a lot more like confidence and locker room material, and like I remember Jim literally talking about it and like, I can't believe you guys just gave us that much more to go on. Like, we already have enough that we're fighting for, and now we're throwing this in there.
Next question.
Might not have won that.
Cody's point, like, it proves two things. One, it proves the way they were still able to dominate, that the competitive advantage that they were getting was not that big of a deal whatsoever. And I trusted people that know more ball ins and outs than I with X's and O's, saying it's not that big of a deal. And two, it would have broken a lesser team, but they just picked the wrong Michigan team to do this to, where these players are just hardened and they don't give a shit. And they did. They gave them a bunch of red meat. And so I hope when Ryan and Pete's heads hit the pillow at night, I just hope they're just kicking themselves that they did their little plan and they did it poorly. They could have waited, but they were scared and they wanted to knock us off, and they didn't. So,
all right, next question.
Next question.
Because we don't want to talk. We don't want to diminish this title for you guys. So no reason to talk about stuff like that. So when you win the national championship, this is a thought I've had well before you guys ever won one, well before anybody's won one. When you win the national championship, I always think, like, you're not getting a trophy you yourself. You're not, like, nothing's happening really for you, the fan, other than like the moment, I guess, of winning. Is it as great as you all expected it to be, or is it like you had yesterday and then today started and it's like, oh, we won the national championship, that's awesome, but like, or I guess, does it feel like you can walk the earth better because you won the title?
I mean, could you imagine us losing last night?
That's not exactly, I don't get it.
Because I would never want to feel that. And this championship, I woke up this morning and I was like, man, it's not as like, oh my God, we just won the national title. It is, but it's not as much as I thought it was going to be, because we're at the top right now. And literally if we lost last night, I'd wake up and be like, okay, what are we doing for next year? Right now, I'm just, but like Jim's saying, he's pushing spring like off another month, like not even worrying about it. But
that's part of the thing, though. To my point, almost is like the journey is the most fun part of sports,
for sure.
So now that you've reached the top, like, do you have that same burning desire to win next year, or is it just like we did it?
I mean, looking at our schedule for next year,
are you ever going to be that invested in the football season ever again? Is this it? Is this the pinnacle?
This was the pinnacle for me. Like, I don't know. Like, if we want to get next year,
suck because you're only 26 and 27. Like, you'll never have it again.
This is the best time. This is the best time to have it. I was just saying this to Tyler last night. I was like, man, dude, like, I'm out of college. There's not as much stuff to look forward to, like, first, but like this, now that like I'm in that stretch where I don't have my college sports to watch while I'm in college, and I'm just working my daily job. There's daily grind. This is the perfect time, like, in my life to actually have a championship. I mean, hopefully I'll get another one in another 20 years, like, maximum. But for right now, no, this is the best time.
I think Cody's similar to me. I will say this. I've heard, like, just listening to, following Barstool, listening to Bill Simmons' show, like, basically Pats fans that and Phil, my buddy Phil from college. From what they say, like, you do start to get the itch, and you just raise your standard. You're like, oh, like, we're going to win it again. And so maybe we get that way. But I can tell you in the aftermath, I'll kind of expand on what I said in the text to you guys so the listeners can hear. But the night of, and it's different. Like, Cody's situation is different because you made an event of it. You're out. You're not going to work the next day. Being on a Monday night, it wasn't really like a huge celebration for me.
That feels like that sucks.
Yeah, like almost the Lions clinching the division when it was Christmas Eve, and I was drinking spicy margs and smoking a cigar. That was more of like a to do. It's all your situation. Like, this was almost like business, like, sigh of relief. It was like any other big win where you're just on your phone. You realize you have to go to work the next day, so they need to fix that and schedule it for Saturday so it can be more of an event. But that next day feeling, you can't describe it unless your team is just won, because you have to worry about anything. Like, during the season, you beat Alabama, even the Rose Bowl, euphoric. Oh, we got to play Washington. Oh, Penix is good. You're looking at the semifinal. Who's their opponent? This is just like, you're done. Like, it's like a weight off your shoulders. But it's, I
almost feel like that's worse, though. Like, not having that, like next game is almost like the more exciting part to me as a fan.
No, it's just
obviously winning's exciting. I would never take that away. I'm just saying, like, it just feels like now the journey going forward will never, like, will you be as invested is my question. Like, next year, like, if you're down 7 to Texas in the fourth quarter, it's just like, we won the national championship last year. Like, who cares?
No,
is that how it's going to get?
No, like I was talking to you
I
about
feel like Grant might be that way.
We're psychos. No, we're psychos. All of our friends, like, we watch so much sports and we're just like, that's not a part of us. Like, we'll celebrate and cheer as much as we possibly can because we just want to be dominant and not allow other people to talk crap to you.
But Grant is not that way. I think Grant's happy with a championship.
This is also our first championship, like, out of all three of us. Like, this is our first championship in any sport that we've ever watched. Michigan State in 2000, it's different. Like,
not totally true.
Children.
The Pistons won.
Yeah, but we were children and couldn't really wrap our head around it. Yeah, I remember.
This one's different because Pistons is the only thing I can compare to because I was old enough to be invested, but we were all rooting for the same team as friends, and I was 8 years old. We didn't have, like, our group chats where we talk shit to each other about sports. This is different because we have Michigan State friends, we have Ohio State friends, and it's different. It's like almost like the bunker mentality where, like, you're good. Like, I can just relax now. Like, if they go 7-5 next year, it's like I'll just send a picture of JJ McCarthy smoking a cigar and a cowboy hat and be like, yeah, well, we won the title last year. Like, until Michigan State or Ohio State get to that, it's like you're just kind of set. And like, as obviously, if 5 years from now Michigan's back in a dumpster fire, it's going to suck. But you still have that, and I will be more than happy just to watch a Rose Bowl. I'll watch like the whole season montage highlights to get me through those times. Like you just have that. It's almost like just an ace in your back pocket. Like, oh, I'll just go relive the 2023 season.
Yeah, and like with the Pistons, it was different because we were all probably sitting in our living rooms watching with our parents, and like there was no like I didn't even know what the F word was and how to use it. Like,
you're also not a big basketball guy, Cody. So
Kool-Aid jammers that night.
I was.
A little more
think about Red Wings when they won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, but like still, like
we were. Even
I remember
then.
watching them, and I remember like cheering for it all, and like watching them at night when it was Game 7. Everything. I remember watching all that stuff, but this is just different. Like from the heartache that we've gotten throughout our years of actually growing up in sports, this is kind of just like the pinnacle for me.
And I would say, I don't know, I feel like pro sports are a different beast. There was this like doubt I've always had. I'm sure Michigan fans have felt the same way, especially ones that are Cody and I's age, not pre-1997, who watched like a really good team get to that point. You just are told that you're not the SEC and you don't have that caliber of athlete, and you're just not going to be able to win. And we've watched it, the whole decade of the playoff where Ohio State did it for the first ever one. Everyone was like, what is the playoff? I mean, they had 5-star galore. Clemson does it, but they basically are an SEC team just in the ACC. And then it's just SEC over and over again. We're like, well, we can't do that because we don't have those players. But then to see it come to fruition, you're like, oh, this is awesome. Like, we can be that good. We just did it. So that is like validation too. And you also have this like weird, again, like you said, you're not really personally winning anything, but you feel like attached to the players, which is just kind of a lame sports thing where you invest in their stories and you just feel super happy for the Corums, for the Mikey Sanderstills. Like you've watched their whole journey. So that is really cool too. Like you just like happy for them as well.
Just means more.
Nice. Question for Alex. How did you feel? I'm not saying you were wrong for your takes, but it was funny the last 5 weeks. Anytime Donovan Edwards' name got mentioned,
Grant, I nailed it.
He's terrible.
I nailed it. I said he's so. I said last week he's so bad he'll probably score 3 touchdowns in the national championship game. So honestly, you should be giving me credit for nailing that.
Thank you.
And honestly,
thank you.
Let's just get it out of the way. His first touchdown, he completely missed the hole, ran into the back of his own guy. He's lucky his offensive line is that good that he just had a wide open hole to his left. Credit him for doing something. I still think he's garbage.
It was on. I think it was on the second touchdown. I think it was on the second touchdown. You and Tyler were talking at the bar, and you're like, "Oh, Donovan's in it. Either
tackle for loss or touchdown." That's what he is.
Gone touchdown.
His running style is so mesmerizing. He doesn't look fast. It looks like he's lumbering, but he just blows by people. It is wild.
Yeah, so I don't feel bad for saying the things I said about him at all.
Some game things that I took away. My biggest takeaway that you see all the coach speak and you just laugh it off like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Blocking and tackling. That was on full display on Monday night, and it's the entire season of this team. It's like we get into the 5 stars, the flashy recruits, the dual threat quarterbacks, which are important, don't get me wrong. But just having dudes that can make tackles in open space and then having big dudes that like to block people is really what football is all about. And the number of times that Michigan made tough open field tackles on all those screen plays that Washington ran was just like, and then you watch Washington miss those tackles. I texted the Michigan group, which is now named the National Champions Group. I'm sure, Alex, if you hadn't seen that,
no, I have.
I have
seen Cody
it.
For
I was in there when he
up the chat.
Changed it,
bringing it home.
Cody basically was hammered and announcing everything he was doing, so I know everything that happened.
Beautiful, but yes, that tackle that Will Johnson made that DJ Turner missed last year. Just a different, sharper team and just tackle. Just tackle. That's all football is about. Just make the tackle, block the player in front of you. And Michigan did that so much better than any other team the entire year.
I literally looked at Alex and I was like, that just gave me TCU flashbacks. As soon as Will Johnson made that tackle. Crazy. We were all thinking the same thing.
I knew before they even showed the replay, I was like, if Mikey blitzed on that, there's nobody back there. And then they show the replay, and Odunze is just gone if he breaks that. So those are the little things. The defensive line, too, big takeaway is you just watch Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter on Georgia, and you're like, yeah, we just don't have those guys. And then you go through this season in the Big Ten, and I was, told you and Evan, I'm like, our defensive line is really good. It's like the best one I've ever seen, the deepest. But you're like, how is it going to stack up against Alabama, all their conferences? And then they do what they do to Alabama. Like, oh, they're good. But then they go play Washington. You're like, are they going to scheme us out of this? Are they good? They have the Joe Moore Award offensive line. Are we going to be able to get through these guys? And they just absolutely wreck the game. So watching that's another takeaway schematically. Having the best defensive line the last 3 years in college football has won the title. So that right there is a key to success for any school. I think in college football, we always think about having the guy at quarterback, while still very important, having the defensive line, the undisputed best defensive line, can win you a national title. So credit to all of them. And 2 of them are true sophomores, which gets me very excited for next year.
Next year. It's a good segue.
See,
next year.
Like, we're looking already. It's
not yet, Alex. We're not going there yet. We'll save the next year stuff for the end. I have many more thoughts about the night that we experienced. Does anyone else have any that they need to get off their chest?
Yeah, I do.
Get it off your chest.
Penix missed some throws that he has not missed this season in big games, and that certainly hindered Washington early in the game. And I know maybe he was hurt. I'm pretty sure he got hurt pretty late in the game. And he missed a lot of throws in the first half, where I was like, if he's not hitting those, it's going to be tough for them to win, because Michigan's already a very good team. So,
yeah,
I was a little disappointed to see Penix miss throws, because selfishly, I wanted a good football game, a close, and it got kind of close. I mean, it was within 7 for a long time. But selfishly, I wanted like a tie game in the fourth quarter, see what happens. So I was a little disappointed.
Do you think that was just the bright lights for him, or did you think Michigan having kind of schemed for the high-flying offense?
No, I think he missed some just straight-up wide-open throws with nobody around. He missed at least 3.
I'd say that's the pressure of the lights.
Just for whatever reason, wasn't his day.
I think we got him off his spot very well too. I think his eyes were down a lot. That pocket was just collapsing with only 4 rushers nonstop. It was nuts, just knocking people over.
But I mean, the big thing against Texas for him was he was 6 for 6 on off-platform throws on weird like angles and such. And then I think in the Michigan game they showed it at one point. He was like 0 of 8 on those throws, and I was like, well, damn.
But Texas's defensive backs were just breaking down and leaving guys wide open too. He wasn't fitting them into narrow.
No, he was
lunchbox.
He was actually putting the balls in lunch pails against Texas, and that's not even my point. I'm not even trying to say that this is a Michigan only won because Penix missed some throws. I'm saying he missed wide open throws, and I was surprised. This is not discrediting. No need to get defensive.
I'm not. It's hindsight 2020, and I was very careful. Like, I didn't want to set myself up for public embarrassment by saying, because at some point I did get over the Washington hump. I was on them early, just thinking that they're a little fraudulent. They kept skating by, knew they were a good football team, but then they flipped a switch. They beat Oregon again. I'm like, all right, I fully respect this team, but it was in the back of my head. And people say that Penix went through some injuries in the middle of the year, but seeing some of his games, I didn't watch full Washington games like when they're playing Arizona State and other teams, but I would watch a good chunk of them. And he does do that though. He's not, he wowed and tricked a lot of people in the Texas game, but like that
he made
was
some
an all-time performance
in that game.
Yeah. Like you
Credit
can't do that
but you
2
can't,
times in a row.
It is tough to think that. I didn't expect him to do that. I expected him to hit wide open guys, and he had 3 throws in the first half where one he didn't even throw. He threw it to the wrong guy. The one he missed late in the game to I don't think it was late. It was like second quarter. I don't remember who it was. Wide open. Bad throw. Threw it behind him. I think it was 4th down too. And then he missed one other. He missed one other throw in the first half, and I was just like, damn. First half, you're already behind, and now you're just piling up mistakes. It's like, credit Michigan also, but yeah, Penix maybe did a fool job on people, and probably you could blame the media for like selling him as like the greatest thing ever to happen. But it's not like they lost because of those 3 throws either. There's plenty of moments that happened in the game.
And it was a little jarring, I think, too, because we learned a little bit about Oregon, and I do think Oregon's going to be sweet next year and keep getting better. But I think a lot of people are like, all right, they beat Oregon. Oregon is a physical team with Dan Lanning, still Pac-12, but they're tough. So I think people draw that conclusion to Michigan, and I think Washington just ran into someone that was 10 times more physical than Oregon. And they're like, oh, so like this is what man football is like with running and blocking and tackling. So that was jarring for them because Texas, while they have athletes, Texas is not like an overly physical football team. They're still skill, speed players. So I think that probably was really jarring for Washington, especially early.
But honestly, gashed it. Credit to Washington's defense for the stretch they played between like, I don't know, when it was like 17-3 at some point, and they kept them in the game for way longer than I think anybody could have expected, especially the way they started. They just kept getting off the field on 3rd down. And I was like, wow, either Washington's defense is playing well or Michigan can't put the final knife in them, which they ended up doing. But I was a little surprised by Washington's defense for holding in that long.
Yeah, 100%. They're going to be bad 330 yards rushing or something.
Over 300, yeah.
I saw it was like the most in the BCS CFP national title history or whatever, and that's insane. I mean,
yeah.
What JJ throw runs. For?
Couldn't have been less than 200. Yeah, 190 maybe 180.
Yeah. I think he only threw like 16, 20 times.
So less than 20 times, I'm pretty sure.
Let's revisit something. Now that JJ won the national championship, you mentioned at one point that you think he'll be drafted ahead of Caleb Williams if he wins the national title. How do we feel about that now? Just because this happens.
We didn't.
So now I have to ask.
We didn't get to that level. We never made it that far. Kind of disappointing. Like I thought he could have had.
Like I think you said that during the Michigan's right after the Michigan State game, where he had one of his better performances of the season. And then after that, he kind of just. I mean, he's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong, but
the pros will be interesting on him though.
He didn't really take that big arc.
It's a completely different type of like game. Like he'll have to throw, and we just didn't need him to throw. Like.
I know.
That's just so weird. That's just our
also doesn't have NFL wideouts to throw to.
I don't know. Like if he went to Ohio State instead of McCord and turned into throwing the ball all over the place, like he could have been the first overall pick. We don't know because I didn't use him like how other teams use their quarterback.
Do we think he's a first rounder, bona fide first rounder? Does this solidify him as a first rounder?
I could see him.
I think through the process, people will fall in love with him. And at the combine, he'll wow people. This is, again, assuming he leaves this year. I think he's late first or early second. I don't think he's not, because normally if you don't take him around then, they fall to the third, like Desmond Ridder. He's not falling to the third, I don't think. I think someone will take him.
But we're pumping the brakes on can't miss quarterback.
Yeah, I do think, though, here's a chance that he goes ahead of Penix in the NFL draft.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I told Cody that
yesterday. He might be QB 3 off the board, I think, behind May and Williams. I just don't know when.
Jaden Daniels.
There's also a chance he has a better career than any of them just because of how late he will go.
Yeah, no, I thought about this, Cody. I said, I don't know if he can turn it around that fast. like the guy I'm about to say that I'm going to tease into, because he is mistake prone. Like even the Rose Bowl, he has that blunder. Like he does kind of get a little yippy, but his talent is there. And if he gets in a rhythm throwing and doesn't have to hand it off 30 times, I think he can be really good. I think we're talking a better Brock Purdy, I would say.
Well, a more athletic, bigger Brock Purdy, because Brock Purdy's like little and slow.
Like just a better Brock Purdy. Like if he was
NFL
on
MVP.
If he was on the 49ers and everything was great around him, like he could put up more numbers than Brock Purdy and actually have a case for MVP in the right down year where Mahomes is bad. So we're talking perfect scenario, but better than Brock Purdy. I mean, which I guess should be obvious because Brock Purdy was the last pick in the NFL draft. So maybe I need to find a juicier
How about Jared
comp.
Goff? Probably a consensus top 12 QB in the NFL. And a former number one overall pick.
For sure. I don't know what to expect immediately. Like I'm not. No CJ Stroud first year. That's out of his possibilities, I think, because of the mistakes he'd made.
Are we thinking like
he could be better than Jared Goff because he's a good game manager and he can sling it and he can run. So right there, I'd probably take maybe not his rookie year, but I would probably take JJ in 3 years instead of Jared in 2 years.
Better than Dak Prescott could be.
That's pretty
good. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think JJ has that in him. I think he has a chance.
All right, well then that's the next question then. Is there any reason for JJ to stay?
Jim.
Because
if he wants
draft stock going to improve, probably not. You'd think, unless they start throwing the ball over. Most people that come back when they should, their stock drops.
I don't know. I think he's a different type of quarterback.
If I was him, I would leave because I would just be like content.
I don't think there's any reason for him to come back. Personally,
make over $2 million in NIL, and then if he slips to the second, he'll be making. Yeah,
he's a first round pick. He's making $15 million.
Yeah, but the problem with the QB stuff is they jump late, and so his agent's not going to know if he's only going to go in the second by the time he has to declare. At least if I have my timeline right, like quarterbacks will jump late because of the combine, all that dumb stuff.
All right, gun to your head. Is he going or is he coming back?
I would think he'd go, but I've seen buzz that he's going to stay.
Not what you want, don't know how valid Cody. Not what you want to happen. Or are you guys ready to bring in the next era of QB?
I really think if Jim stays,
just as long as possible.
If Jim stays, I have a feeling that he's going to be like a Miles Bridges. Like I'm back. Like I'm ready to go, but I'm back. Like
would agree.
Do you think Jim would let him come back?
Yeah.
You don't think Jim would be like, "Hey man, I think you should go to the NFL. You're a first round quarterback."
No, they're like father and son.
Is Jim coming back?
Cody. That's later.
These have to be questions.
We're not there yet.
These have to be questions.
They are, but let us talk about the game first.
I have a question.
Okay.
My standard still with a now famous interception moment in the national championship game.
I wanted him to crib that so bad. I was like, go, Mikey, go, score.
Where does he rank in your all-time favorite Michigan football players?
He's up there.
And will his moment live in lore forever? Is he a now Charles Woodson, Desmond Howard type of Michigan legend?
Will's right there too.
Who?
Will Johnson and Sanders Still are like.
I think Sanders Still is above for me because he's just more dog.
Will Johnson wins the award for most cool looking during the celebration. He looks so awesome with like the championship belt and the glasses.
Guys, answer the question.
He looks sweet.
I say he looks like Justin Fields. Sorry.
A little bit, yeah. Well, I don't know, dude. I gotta go like.
It's hard to go back. I used to love like Brandon Graham. I used to love Lamar Woodley. Like I can't just forget about those guys.
Did those guys win national championship? Because Sanders still did.
They were foundational people in my.
And he changed positions.
Leon Hall.
Hutch is up there.
Sanders still changed positions and then became elite at corner.
And he did.
Or whatever position he kind of runs around.
Ohio State.
He's won you multiple games. And he just won a title. Feels like he has to be like number one.
No, he's not number one.
Personally, for me, I'd put him. It's him or Corum. I think are one and two.
Corum.
Defensively,
Corum's
he has to be number one.
Yeah, he's my favorite defensive player ever. Yes,
has to be.
Because on offense, the Don.
The Don could not be in anybody's top three.
The Don.
The amount of times we said that at the bars, and it was awesome.
I'm a big Trevor Keegan guy. He won't win it because it's not as flashy, but I love Trevor Keegan.
I was reading today that you guys had your whole offensive line's gone, but that's later in the segment.
I had these texts depleted roster. I'm telling you, it's a mass exodus from Michigan.
Every year,
I keep being told by Cody that Michigan's going to be just as good. Doesn't matter.
I don't know. Maybe you'll be right, but they're going to lose. They are objectively going to lose an unprecedented amount of talent. They're going to have the most. Jim Harbaugh said he thinks his team will have the most draft picks by any college team in the history of the sport. Like we're talking like almost 30 draft picks.
And Cody is going to sit here and tell me that they're going to be just as good next year, Cody.
I appreciate Cody saying that.
I understand what we're saying here. I'm not saying they're going to be national champions next year, but I'm saying that they're not going to fall off. They have experience in every position coming back.
Defense will be sick. Defense will be good.
All of our offensive linemen are going to be like juniors.
Your offensive line's all gone, dude.
We might be Penn State.
We have so many people that we have alternated in that will be in the lineup next year that, they haven't played in the last 2 years, but they're juniors.
They're just all NFL first round, second round picks or what?
They go against Mason Graham every day.
We don't know.
Well, that's what I mean. That's why I wouldn't just be sitting here telling the people that just going to run it back, which they could.
Cody,
if people come back.
But you can, Alex. We just won the title. You can say anything you want. That's the beautiful part of this week after.
Right, I guess so.
Cody, that your guy El Hadi got in the game. He went in motion. I don't know. I was like, there's his guy. Let's see. I would like to take one moment for my betting night. Great night of betting. Didn't even think about it after the game started. Had just sprinkled. My only regret is I didn't bet more. Sprinkled Will Johnson interception, Sanders still interception. Just felt Penix was going to give us some that night. The other one that was kind of interesting. Alt spread 6.5. Did a parlay with JJ and Donovan to each have over 25 plus rushing yards. And then I've never hit a season-long championship future. I just, for fun, when I re-downloaded FanDuel, put $5 on Michigan to win it all. It was only plus 850, which is actually insanely low odds for a title because they were like top 5. So it only paid out like $50, which is kind of sad and pathetic for a title future. So I wish I did more, but it was cool. Pretty much doubled my account in a night and was positive for college football season. So just wanted to know it was a fun betting night too when I looked back. I said I was not going to bet anything that was pro-Washington because I couldn't do that to myself. I would never root for that.
No emotional hedging.
Alex, I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Alex.
Yeah.
I know you can't speak for the entire fan bases, but for the rival fans we share in this great state, Michigan, from the Spartan perspective, what was it like for you? I know it's a little. I'm curious. I imagine it was a little different because you were with two close friends that are Michigan fans. How would you think it would have differed if you were in your apartment by yourself watching the game last night?
I mean, I would have felt the same. I mean, was telling myself to not get annoyed because, obviously if I was in that situation, I would do the same type of stuff. There's only like 2 things Cody said to me that bothered me. Was Michigan State Wolverines, he said at one point.
That was actually just for the state.
And then he said, like, we did it for you guys, or Tyler said, like, we did it for you guys. And I was like, listen, you guys can enjoy your thing. Let's win with some class. But, like, this championship is not for us. We don't want it. So,
like, avenging Washington?
Like, that
was Tyler. I never once meant something against Michigan State in that entire night.
It felt like both of them, you included, Cody, and you were very hammered. So I would know.
I was just agreeing with whatever at that point, probably.
Like like they felt the need to like try to like coddle me almost, like make me feel better about it. And I was like, guys, like
Alex hates that.
Just enjoy your thing and just leave me out of it. That'd be great. Like I don't need
Yeah, but you're my
that.
friend and I wanted to talk to you about it.
I know, but like you have to understand. I'll speak for the fan base here. I'm not quite as extreme as the whole fan base, so I got a lot of texts from Michigan State people, and the consensus was like,
Give me some.
Like,
just give me a couple.
We're rock bottom. Like, this is rock bottom. Our coach jerked his dick. They win a national championship. The grass for us is looking brown, dark, and scary. Like, we are not seeing any like future right now. Michigan's reached the pinnacle. It's like just it couldn't be worse timing for a Michigan State fan because we're supposed to be good at basketball. They stink, and so we were like, oh yeah, if Michigan wins a football championship, we'll just be good at basketball. Not good at that. So it's just everything kind of coinciding at once makes it so much worse. And not to mention, like, you guys are fine, but there are so many Michigan fans out there too that just will rub this in for the rest of our lives and we'll never hear the end of it ever, unless we ever somehow fall into a national championship, which, like I just said, it's looking pretty bleak. So, I mean, I wasn't annoyed. If I watched it by myself, it would have been the same. I muted a couple group chats because I don't want to see it. I don't care. Like, I'm happy for you guys, but you should just have your own chats for this. But I get it. Maybe you want us to feel sad, pain, whatever.
No.
I don't know. Like, I didn't want you guys to lose in the sense I didn't want you guys all to be depressed for the rest of your lives.
Oh, I would have been so depressed. It would have been insane.
But at the same time, I didn't want you to win either. And like stuff like that. It's just like, dude, I get it. But like putting it on my TV when I get home just for me to see it, it's like, you could have done that at any point.
Good timing, Cody. That's a very mobile laptop you got there. Just flip it around.
So
I'm not happy for all my friends. I want that on the record.
on the record.
I'm happy for some.
I am happy that I called Evan last night. Oh, what? Washington only had 301
I think
total yards.
also
303 on the ground.
Calling all your Michigan State friends.
I only called Evan.
You called Wilkins. You talked to me.
I did not call Wilkins.
Yes, you did.
He's Wolverine. Wolverine
did I
Wilkins.
call Wilkins?
Yeah, Cody, you should probably look at
call
who
Wilkins.
You called. You called everyone.
Yeah,
Wolverine
I called a lot of
Wilkins.
people. But I know I called. So it was only Wilkins and Evan then out of Michigan State.
You called
people.
Cam and then immediately put me on the phone. Like, dude, like, I don't know what you want me to say. I just wish that our fan bases were mature enough to like win by themselves and lose by themselves. The problem is everybody's so intermingled. It's just never going to happen.
I didn't call them to throw anything in their face.
No,
like
but
Evan,
that's
I
how
called
it feels.
because, and Evan was just like, dude, I'm super happy for you. This is awesome. Like,
he's not.
And I just said, I love you, man. And yeah, we had a good little.
No, he's
like,
honestly, he's not. I promise.
Oh, I'm sure he's not.
I respect that. I've always respected that about Evan.
No, he's not. And I think the thing is we just don't like we're happy for you guys, but we don't want to hear about it. And we have to use our own ways to avoid it. But like we don't want to talk to you guys about it.
I know it's sad though because you guys are like our best friends and like that. Those are the types of people.
And you guys wouldn't want to talk about it with us if it was reversed.
I don't want to call kids that I haven't talked to in weeks or months or anything. I want to talk to the guys I've been talking about this game with for my entire life.
Friendships diminish when you get older.
That is the unique part. Like that's why it's so unique.
The Lions, we can all do it together.
Lions, it's like, yeah.
There's just too much bad blood.
I had a multi-layered response to Alex's. I was thinking about this last night. I do get like Cody and Tyler and you guys hanging out makes sense. Where like you got like Michigan State's going to come up. Because you're like with each other. I do not get how there's other like people on Twitter essentially is what I'm saying. I don't understand how you're a fan of Michigan and you are thinking about Michigan State or Ohio State whatsoever. Like I understand you're pulling receipts of certain accounts, which is fine. But like to type something out like, oh, I bet they're so sad. Like why would you care in that moment? For me.
But there's a lot of those Twitter trolls out there. That's why I don't have Twitter anymore.
people get satisfaction. For me, like going forward with this title, I don't really have any desire to discuss it with Michigan State fans because I understand like they're not going to want to talk about it. The only thing is me is like I'm like the ultimate, I guess, caged bear now, where if like you poke Michigan at all, I'm just going to like, I'll just quickly send something back about the national title. And like, that's when I'll discuss it. Like, it's almost just like I said, the ace in your back pocket, where going through all the years of chirps about how, which were fair at the time, you know, like people knocking 1997, flashing around winning this program. You haven't won shit. Your coach is a mouth breather who loses the Ohio State. Like any comments, which I think will die down now because it's settled. But if those come up, I'm just, the bear unlocks from the cage and I just send whatever I want to send. Not mean, but just saying like, want a title.
No
like,
one's going to
anymore.
do that. Well, yeah, people are going to do that. Stupid people are going to do that. But like anyone with a brain realizes this is just your time not to talk. And what annoys me on the other side of it is when certain Michigan people are out there trying to get you to like engage in stuff that you just don't care or want to talk about. They're like provoking you to say something just so that they can throw all of that in your face when you don't want that, which is fine.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But if I want to ignore you and not talk about it, I think everybody could just, respect that both ways.
I think this is going to lead to a relatively peacetime.
It should help
in my life when it comes to this, where like I have no reason to actively root for Michigan State's downfall. I stopped doing that really as more and more people in my life, like that's what they really cared about. And now it's just like, I got mine. Like if you guys win one, it's like, I actually will be happy. Like you were for your friends. And it's like, all right, well now it's a little bit more competitive between the two, but it's just kind of like, yeah, it's so much easier to be only focused on your team when they're good that I just don't get when people focus on the rivals when they're really good. Like it just, for me, I'm just going to focus on my team because they're actually good. I'm my most nastiest, I think, when my team is floundering because I can't handle that.
It bothers me like to see Michigan State like Instagram accounts, because that's all I have, like actively be like putting on their story like, let's go Washington tonight, like blah blah blah. Like I think all that is just stupid too. Like you're not in the game and you just stay out of it. But that is not how the world works. Everyone's going to do it.
It's fandom.
It's never going to stop. It's just like I'm getting to the point in my life where it's like I've lost so many probably years of my life getting into stupid debates and arguing and getting upset over other schools, and it's just worry about my miserable program that stinks and never will be good again. I'll just worry about that.
See, I never really get upset like about other teams though, saying anything ever. Like I don't get upset. It's fun to have like conversations and like sometimes heated conversations, but like I never hold grudges or anything about somebody saying something to me. Like it's sports.
The only one that pissed me off on Washington was McMillan. He just talking so much crap from the jump when he wasn't doing anything spectacular, and he irked me. Everyone else I was cool with on their team. For me, I don't get mad really at my friends because I know them as people, whereas it's more the Twitter people that I can avoid. That's my own doing, especially during the Stallion stuff. Just so much ignorant shit was said about this program that had no backing, and it was just the hot thing to say for likes. Like that one college football nerds account basically saying that if you deduce the dots because there was rumors that Michigan gave South Carolina, Tennessee signs that's why Hendon Hooker tore his ACL. Just like stupid, moronic people in this world saying stuff about this program that know nothing actually piss me off, and I actually hate those people. And if I ever saw them, I would just tell them they're stupid. But people in my real life that I talk to, no, I know them as people, so it's different. I don't actually get mad like Cody said. I mean this in a nice way. This is
just said, Grant, I don't love pep talks and like trying to be coddled when you win the national championship. We're grown ass adults and we can take care of ourselves. But yeah, please give us
almost like using analogy for my Michigan State friends that tells the story of this Michigan team. Like you can put yourself in the shoes of us as a fan. When you were talking about the rock bottom, again, it's not like a pep talk, but it's like, it's a reason not to give up hope. It's like, because I hear all these Michigan State fans, and rightfully so, you're going through it where you feel rock bottom. It's like, we'll never be good again. But I want you guys to have hope. I also am a Jonathan Smith stan. I don't know if he has any nicknames, like if Smith Army or whatever, Smith stands, whatever. I'm one. I'm fully sucked in to him.
I do think he's.
I might get
I do
burned
think
again
he
like we
might
did
be
with
legit.
Mel Tucker.
I'm not ready to say it yet, but
poor choice. Whatever. You're right, Cody. Could have said it better. Whatever. Smith stands. But like Alex, think about this, and you know it too. I'm just more telling it for our listeners out there if they're driving to work and they're sad about their team. Watching your most hated rival, one of your rivals, in the title game, and you're at your lowest, 2020. January this time, 2020, watching Ohio State go up against Alabama for all the marbles in the COVID year, where we had just ducked them. We were the laughing stock of the country. Harbaugh, half the group, myself, was like, you know what? If they mutually part ways, I checked our Twitter too. There was a lot of receipts of people that were celebrating last night that had said fire Harbaugh. I don't think we had made our Twitter account before then. Thankfully, there was no fire Harbaugh anything on our account. But I know in text I had said, if they mutually agree to part ways, it is what it is. I think the course has ended. Joe Milton, horrible locker room guy, actively wanting to transfer. Don Brown, I mean, Jesus, what a dinosaur. Great coach, but really past his time at that point. And then they dig deep. They get desperate. They hire actual assistant coaches that are young, that have brains. They get Ben Herbert in there, molding young boys into men, and they rise to this point. That's what, if I'm, Michigan State watching, it's a parallel. I know it feels far away, but it's the exact same thing. I'm not saying it's going to happen in 3 years. That's aggressive, but I'm just saying the feeling of watching your rival in the title game when you're at your lowest, Michigan fans went through in 2020. And I never, ever would have thought that they'd go 40-3 since then and win a title, ever. Wouldn't bet anything on it. And they did it. So if that means something, I don't know what it means, but I believe in Jonathan Smith. Obviously, he's not some NFL coach that went to Michigan State that just came off a Super Bowl appearance a couple of years ago. Fine, but he doesn't have to be. He can be himself. He can be the new historical person for Michigan State. You just don't know.
Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah, well, he's going to be Michigan's next coach, which we eventually get to at some point.
Right. I would just say that there are a lot of Michigan State fans that believe we'll never be good again. I am not one of them, but I never have been. I always believe that history repeats itself, and you'll go through waves. It's happened to be in our floor stage. Just get it.
I bet they contend for a Big Ten title in 3 years.
I would expect them to. Minimum 3 years. I would think then, sooner.
If not, Jonathan Smith's not doing his job right.
Correct.
I think it's safer to say hover around playoff contention. The Big Ten might be hard to. But yeah, I get
Big Ten's a little different now when we're talking 20 teams. But yeah, make playoffs, have a chance to win it all. I guess that's
maybe it takes 5 years, but
getting into a playoff
I learned
would be a big step, a nice step.
Another stat. A lot of people out there today hate Michigan, think they're the villains, made them the villains, hate them, think it's BS, disgusted. But let me present a case why you should be happy that Michigan won the title, because it will make you have more hope and excitement for your team if you're not already Georgia or Alabama or an elite team. From our friend on Twitter, Joe Klatt, had this stat. He put it into actual numbers. I mean, we knew this watching this team, following this team, but this Michigan football team had an average recruiting class outside the top 10 in the last 4 years. Their talent composition was 14th in the country. They had only 2 5-stars on the roster. These facts provide a tremendous boost to the whole sport, as many will now believe that they can also win it all. And I think he nails it. There's different ways to win in college football. Yes, this was unique. They had a lot of old guys, but this is a unique roster build when we talk about talent, 5-stars. They only had 2. Yes, one was a quarterback. Really helps. But he wasn't even a consensus 5-star, so that's not a sure lock. I think Donovan Edwards and Will Johnson are really the only 2 consensus 5-stars we had. And with the transfer portal now, Michigan doesn't use it as heavy as others, but they found meaningful players this past year. And so it's not all about just dominating recruiting. It's still going to help you a lot, but that's got to make you happy. If you I was thinking about this today. We talked about defensive lines. I did as my big takeaway. Penn State. If you're a Penn State fan, they just need to find a JJ McCarthy and have some sort of competence in their offense. And they can do what Michigan did, because when we played their defense, they were legit and we couldn't throw the ball against them and had to resort to running. And thankfully they couldn't move the ball whatsoever. So it worked. But if I'm that fan base, Michigan winning makes me feel better. Ohio State as well. You're like, well, all right, we only lost to the national champions by 6. I mean, there's just a lot of fan bases out there that should not view this as, I know emotionally, yes, but actual winning at all should make you feel better about yourself, I think.
Yeah, Grant.
Agree with that.
Fans are not level-headed, normal people. So,
oh, come on, Alex. What do you mean?
Happening.
You can't tell me if you put JJ McCarthy on Iowa, they'd win that.
I don't think anyone's.
No, they probably.
I mean, I don't.
Penn State, though, I think
Iowa wouldn't win the title, but they would probably have a much better chance.
They'd be pesky, I'll tell you that.
They have a first-round corner on their team.
I saw people debating. I love the best thing about after the title is you can just say hyperbole things. I know people were throwing out since there was a stat about Michigan. There's only like a few 15-0 teams of all time. Let me be the first Michigan fan to say 2019 LSU is still the most like.
I think in Cody's drunken stupor that came out of his mouth.
I like that. I
did not say that.
Someone said in the car, 2019 LSU, we'd give them a run.
No. That did not come out of my mouth, at least.
You better hope not.
I was kind of locked into my.
That is a wild statement.
No, because
I don't think we'd get blown out, but I think they'd win by 2 touchdowns.
Nice.
They'd win by 14 at least
by the end of it.
I don't know.
I mean,
they had.
No,
dude,
I don't.
We might have more draft. We might have more draft picks.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Joe Burrow.
We might have more draft picks than them, but they had more stars than us.
Devin White.
They'd win that.
Patrick Queen.
They'd beat us by at least 10.
Derek Stingley.
The one
Their team is all first-round picks, dude. They would probably kill a lot of teams. They're the greatest college football team of all time. That's a fact.
The one other stat, and again, a humble Michigan fans, that's what we're known for. After seeing that Georgia defense in 2021 that we played, I still would put them better than Michigan as well because of the draft they had. But this Michigan is like a 1B2 to that. Like the stats coming out that they held every opponent under X amount of points. They averaged only giving up 10 points a game since like the 1903 Minnesota Golden Gophers, just doing stupid stats. And again, a lot of bad offenses, but that was a debate that we settled. One of the crazier stats from this game was if you said before the game, Michigan holds Washington to 13 points, you're like, oh, they had a bunch of long drives. They milked the clock. They got the ball to end the half, and then they got to start the half. Washington had 13 possessions in this game and scored 13 points. That is a testament to the defense. That is wild. So this defense, the only team that you can argue that has been better in the modern era is that Georgia team in 2021.
Which I would take that Georgia defense. Just because they just have a little more NFL talent. But Michigan's defense is good and deserving.
I'm curious to see, like,
we'll find out
another year, like
where everyone
Kenneth Grant ends up. Like, does he end up going like 13th, like Jordan Davis? Is he that guy that we're watching? I think he is, but I don't know. It just feels weird to think that about a Michigan defensive lineman.
Mm-hmm. But like Graham, yeah, Graham,
Mason
Graham. I was like, oh Jesus, not that. Mason Graham. He does not look like an NFL player. No. He just is a stud in college.
Just good college.
But he is not like people were talking about like his size being equivalent to Aaron Donald. I'm like, slow your damn roll. He is a sophomore in college, and he looks like a punch ball out there rolling through their offensive line.
Yeah, it's awesome. Could he be? But that Kalijah Kancey kid just got drafted high. He could be like him after one more year.
Yeah, I could see him like I think he's a second round talent. Like next year, he could be a second round talent. I don't know about higher than that. There's a lot of eye test stuff that for me that you need to get over for the pros.
Just some hyperboles that I think are actually accurate as we settle this season for Michigan. I agree with Coach Harbaugh, JJ McCarthy, best Michigan quarterback of all time. Jim Harbaugh, best Michigan coach of all time. This is the best Michigan season team of all time. And I know there's a lot of historians. I'm just talking about what I see. And just if you put those teams in the modern era with the SEC talent, I think this team proved more than them. Any others? Blake Corum, best running back of all time. That's a lengthy list, but accomplishments coming back for an extra year. Roman Wilson, one of the better receivers in a long time, had an underrated, really good season for how barely we throw.
Braylon's my number one on that, though. Sorry.
Yeah. No, agreed. But yeah, just had to make sure we got those in.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What are your guys' takes on schedule watching now? You know how this year we didn't play anybody and nobody thought we were good, and we just kept putting the thumb down.
I'm not going to let you guys sit here and say nobody thought you guys were good, because you were ranked number one and number two the entire season, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, Michigan hasn't played anyone, but they're killing teams. They're a good football team." I can pull up clips of famous people on podcasts, on shows, every single week saying Michigan is very deserving.
Okay,
no one thought
what was
they were
the narrative
bad.
though when. Right. We get through the Big Ten. Ohio State's,
I think people thought you would lose to Georgia, and no one saw it.
But do you think we need heavy hitters in the beginning of the year? I kind of agree with James Franklin. You're just trying to get to undefeated and get to the postseason. I don't care about.
I agree with that.
I don't care. We're going to learn how to play football against anybody that we play. I don't think we need a tough schedule.
I've always thought scheduling high opponents early is overrated. The sport doesn't reward it.
I would say
year we'll get our fill for the next 5 years.
I would say now, in a 12-team format, you can lose a game or two of those, and then you'll get more credit from the committee by playing in those games. So therefore, I think they're good for college football, for your fan base, for something exciting in the beginning of the season. I like them. I've always liked them. I like them even when my team loses in them. Something to look forward to. I am
looking forward to Texas week 2. I am. But
yeah, I'm going to need to get back up for sure.
It really was hard this year listening, just because how bad the Big Ten was. That we were
they discredited us, Cody. They discredited us.
I don't know how to we can't
even blame anyone though for thinking these things, because the Big Ten was dog shit and your schedule was dog shit. That is all true. You just happen to have a dog shit schedule and be very good. So it made it even worse.
That was my biggest thing all year. I was just upset about it.
The biggest doubt, though, to Alex's point, yes, the rankings, the Connor Stallions thing about how good are they really was its own thing. They just got way out of proportion. It snowballed, as we can see by the end of the year. But again, you have to think about how razor's edge our little fan brains are, that if Kyle McCord leaves that game-winning drive against Michigan in the Big House, there's a large part of the college football fan base that thinks Michigan actually was an entire fraud over the 3 years. Again, we can talk super confidently, and that's what's the cool part about winning a title is you can just say all these things confidently. But they beat Ohio State by 6 points. Again, Stallions was its own thing. It was not that much of an advantage. Ohio State's still a really good program. The biggest thing in this season was that selection show, the viral clip of the Michigan players allegedly groaning, playing Alabama, and rightfully so. I was nervous about it. Alex, you make good points. Everyone makes good points about Nick Saban, month of prep. Good luck. He never loses. That was the game where it was this team's legit. The disrespect has to stop. They actually won that game. But people were right to question it. No one beats Alabama after a month of prep in the college football semifinal. That is what the difference in this season where they pushed through. And that was... And then you get the best offense in the country. So
I just don't want people to pretend that people were doubting and thought Michigan sucked all year, because they were preseason ranked number 2 and everybody knew they were going to be good. They were coming off back-to-back playoff appearances.
A lot of people picked Penn State.
A lot of Twitter trolls.
No, real people.
It's much more fun as a preseason media person to pick the team that's not the favorite, and that's what they all do.
I've never seen
when people picked.
You've never seen what, Cody?
Go.
An odds in early in the season that Ohio State's not above us.
You guys had the better odds last year.
They're already the favorite.
You were.
I like.
You were the favorite last year. I guarantee it.
No, they were to start the season. I went to place the bet.
No.
Big Ten, and they were ahead.
No,
they were. I will do some research. Big Ten champion. What is start the season like the week before kick?
Like, I get it. You got to get your bulletin board behavior, but this is just like when Georgia won the title and they're like, yeah, everybody thought we were going 7-5. I'm getting the same energy vibes from you guys.
Everyone thought we were losing to Alabama. That's a fair statement.
Even you at some point.
I was really nervous about it, but I picked them.
And it took overtime. So, I mean, those people were almost right.
Yeah.
I said 27-28 in that game. Could have been. It's close.
The only interesting things in the world of NIL, Michigan gets a lot of crap for being behind the times and not dropping bags for players, but their one more year like NIL fund really paid off. I think it'll pay off again. I saw they were raising money again for this year, but last year they got Zinter, Keegan, Corum, other guys to come back for one more, Michael Barrett. Like, they're doing NIL their own way, and that is one of the biggest examples of getting people to come back. And the other interesting thing, just completely random from the game, the combo of celebrities in that booth of MJ, Derek Jeter, Stephen A., and Travis Scott was mind-blowing. I never would have thought those four people were just going to be chilling in a booth together. That was absurd.
Yeah, I did not think that was Stephen A. I was like,
in a varsity jacket.
Yeah.
What a life. Alex is going to hate this. Cody, I think you're going to love it. I've never been a big person when it came to the Harbaugh catchphrases. Like, they make me laugh, but I don't go around saying them. When you win the title and they're yelling who's got it better than us with his dad, that was awesome. Like, that's when it hit. I was like, this phrase is actually super cool now, and I just want to say it in my head to myself that they actually won it all. I thought it was super corny when they're like, losing games and they go 9-3 and win the Sugar Bowl. But now that phrase is pretty sick.
So that's an old phrase, though. Like, they said that's been in their house forever. Like, that's a Harbaugh staple. Like, who's got it better than us?
Use it with the 49ers.
Yeah, I think that's cool how he kind of like, that's just his family. Like, he's not making
everything's
everything's
cool when you win.
Quirky.
All that shit sucks
people.
When you lose, and that is just the fact of the matter. If you guys just went 3-9, you'd be like, "This dude, these phrases are terrible." It's just I think literally all that matters is winning and losing. Everything's cool when you win.
COVID year, who's got it better than us? Those did not hit when we beat Rutgers in overtime. Who's got it better than us did not hit. I can promise
everything's
you that.
better when you win.
Correct.
My only last points, Alex, your question about Harbaugh's future. Let's wrap it up, this title game, with that talk. How would you like to phrase it? Do you just want to answer it?
I want to ask Grant because I know Cody is uber hopeful about it. So I don't know if there's like an actual what he thinks, or is it just what he wants. So Grant, what do you think is going to happen?
The logic part of my brain says he's going to go to the NFL. The logic part.
Yeah.
I just
I'm
feel
a logic guy.
The sport is kind of in a weird space. I don't think I would enjoy being I would, because I love ball. But I think if I was like a lifer and getting close to 65 or whatever how old he is, 62. I don't think I'd want to keep doing this transfer portal stuff, especially after winning it all. I mean, he did everything he needed to do. He went through a lot here, a decade. Crazy to think it's like 9 or 10 years of him in my life, and they finally did it. Wild. Anyways, sometimes that's what it's like winning it all. You just get in these daydreams of like, I can't believe they actually won it all. My point is, though, is he's done everything he needs to do. He doesn't have to prove anything else. I don't know if he has it in him at this stage to like try to do a dynasty and go for another one. I don't know. And he's always talked about the NFL. There's so many openings. Justin Herbert is available to be coached. There's actually good jobs out there.
And every
my
NFL
logic
team
brain is like, why would he not? Yeah, and he'll get he's like the number one candidate for every team.
Teams didn't really want him. They wanted him, but they interviewed, and then the Vikings were like, "No, we don't."
You don't think there's a lot more like better talent out there than Jim Harbaugh for the NFL?
No.
Oh, there is. There is, but he's like
the guy that's been to a Super Bowl, is 30 games over 500 in his NFL coaching career. Just won a national championship in college. It's a pretty safe bet.
Does he get a job over Ben Johnson?
Yes.
Depends on the front office, I would say. If it's a forward-thinking front office, I think they'd go with Ben Johnson. If it's an old school boys club, I think they'd easily
if it's
go
one
Jim
of these
Harbaugh.
teams that just fired one of their hotshot OCs that became a head coach, they're going to go Jim. Falcons, Chargers.
Chargers are like the only team that he could go to.
We'll see. That is your heart talking, Cody, because every team's announced.
I'm pretty sure he has like a house in LA. He's like, I think he has roots there still, like from when he was
Played
in San
there.
Francisco.
I don't think his roots matter. I think he was going to take the Minnesota Vikings job.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? That was reported.
That was before when we were atrocious and he wasn't.
No,
really.
Cody's just thinking out loud. He's just thinking.
That was
I don't know what's gonna happen.
post-college
He's
football
He's up in the air.
Yeah, and we were so far away from a national title still.
So far,
But my point is that now you have one, and NFL teams want him, and he loves the NFL. It's all on record.
he wants to surpass his brother and dad. He tied him now, says he can be at the big boy table. He's a competitive psychopath. He wants to be better than his brother and dad.
Correct. And his brother won a Super Bowl.
I will, as long as it's not like a division rival or they play the Lions, I will root for Jim Harbaugh coach the NFL team every single game. I owe that to him.
I just think it's
giving me everything.
I think, Cody, you're just thinking with your heart too much. I think you need to think that he's going to leave, and then if he stays, you can be happy. But I wouldn't do the reverse.
I'm happy either way. We just won a national title. I don't care if he stays or goes. I don't know if there's more appeal to go to the. I know
there's way more
the
appeal.
NFL is pinnacle for him. Yeah, the NFL is a coach's dream to play in the Super Bowl. Like any football coach, Super Bowl. But he's done that. I don't know. He hasn't won it, but he's been there.
What do you mean you don't know, though? The NFL is better in every single aspect. And I'm not even trying to say that he should leave. I'm just telling you it is better in every aspect for your lifestyle to be an NFL coach versus a college coach.
But the wild card in all this is he is a unique man. He's a simple man. His roots are in Ann Arbor. He went there. His kids live there now. School, whatever.
There's certainly ties.
And he basically has a fifth whatever son on the team in JJ McCarthy. And if JJ comes back, then I could see him running the back. I don't know how. I don't think he's going to try to string together 5 more years there. I'd be stunned at that. But I don't know. He's a weird. I honestly believe he'll be one of the coaches that like he coaches until he dies, or he's like forced to retire. He's like talked about that. He said like his life plan was to play football as long as possible at any level. And the minute he's done, coach until he dies. Like that's all he wants to do. So I don't know. He might think he has 15 more years.
I feel like coaching grown men, you don't have to recruit your roster to stay. You don't have to recruit your roster. You just draft people.
But I think that's what he loves about being a coach.
He loves the NFL.
He always wants the kids, but he wants the kids to get up there and talk, and not him. There's just too many. There's no way of us knowing or even considering what Jim Harbaugh is thinking in his whack ass.
No, but Cody, my point to you is that the NFL's
NFL
pros
trying to tell you
are better. No. Grant is not trying.
No,
you are
right now we are
projecting
we're projecting what we think is best for Jim.
If you think college is best for him, then you're lying, because that is not true.
I think he loves Bo Schembechler. That was his coach. I think he wants to be that. He wants to be a Joe Pa. Like he wants to be coaching forever.
2 really scummy people that you just compared him to.
I'll tell you this, Alex.
Objectively.
I'll tell you this. Well, that's off the field stuff. I'm talking this point, and this could brainwash him. This past team that he's had for the last 2-3 years has been the like picture perfect college football situation for him, where he doesn't really have to recruit the kids to stay. Almost no one transfers out of the program unless they're like bottom of the barrel. Like wishing what's best for him. If he could convince himself in his Jim Harbaugh brain that he can keep this culture and he's got enough people that will not be divas, that is better for him mentally than having to go to like the Vegas Raiders and deal with Devontae Adams bullshit every other week. Like that, Michigan would be better in that case than having to deal with the divas of the NFL. So that's the only thing I could spin myself into thinking, that he just thinks that this last 3 years he can replicate that for 5 more and just have like a player-led team.
So that would go back to like Jim's crazy brain to think that like another like his teams will just always be like this, because that's
I'll get another Sanders still.
Those
another
guys do not grow on trees. But
He kind of did get another Jabril in Sanderstill.
whoa, Sanderstill is better than Jabril.
Yeah, he's
and a better person.
He got a better Jabril. He talked about Jabril like he talks about Mikey.
Yeah, but there was like 10. There's like 10 of those guys on the team. 10 plus. There's like
So
20
many
of those guys on the team. How can Jim's
Cornelius? You think Cornelius Johnson gives him headaches? No, Devontae Adams gives him headaches.
I just feel like if Jim's trying to like
That's my
ease
sales pitch to
into his final phase of coaching, college football is not the place to do it unless like even Nick Saban is sick of it. Like and bitches about it every week. Bill Belichick is just coasting, going 3-14. Doesn't matter. Life is good. Like I'll draft random.
Is there a way we can trade
players.
Jim Harbaugh and get Bill?
Bill Belichick would be the worst college football coach of all time right now.
That actually could be.
I don't know. He might just like pull like the Al Romano, like the sunsetting of his career. Just like
I don't even think he would try.
Yeah, let's do this.
He'd be like, "Oh, you don't want to?
He'd run the
you don't want to come here? Fine. Take some 1-star from Idaho."
Yeah,
Bill Belichick
like,
should.
That's my guy.
He should go coach Army for like the last 3 years of his coaching career and just get back to his roots.
Would be cool.
I want Michigan fans to know this, but I want everyone to know if they're listening when it comes to the Harbaugh future that the name you need to look out for that stays around if this starts rolling is we need to hold on to Ben Herbert. He is the most important. He is 1B most important man in the entire program, I would say, because you just don't. Even when Harbaugh in 2016, like the players just look better. They just look bigger. They look faster. They look stronger. They look like men. We're pumping out draft picks. And a lot of these guys were 3-star recruits. And Ben Herbert is a great strength and conditioning coach. And he's a psychopath. He basically turns the team into a bunch of Navy SEALs. And that's what you need. So if he follows Jim Harbaugh wherever he goes, I pucker up about the future of Michigan football in the immediate future until we find another psychopath to be our strength and conditioning coach.
Your 1A is Sharon Moore, right?
Yeah. Your 1A or Michigan's 1A.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know, like, am I counting Harbaugh? Like, I do think he's important, but I don't know how much he had to coach this year. He missed 6 games.
That's what I mean.
Like, did anybody have to coach this team, really? Or is this just players?
I like Jim because the Jim is awesome because he takes all distractions to himself and keeps everything off the players because he's such a freak that people just hate him. So he's like that shield of a soldier protecting the boy in bed. That's Jim Harbaugh to the program. He just eats everyone's attacks because they hate him.
I wonder if hiring from within is the right move.
I think it is.
I mean,
I don't want Brian
Ohio
Kelly.
State.
It's almost sometimes where like you take that guy, Sharon Moore in this case, you just because he was a benefit of just a fantastic product built by someone, not him. And then he'll use that team. He'll be sick for 2 years because they'll just have all the same guys. And then once he gets his own players, that's when you tip over.
You're talking about Ryan Day. Are you talking about Ryan Day?
I'm just saying, it's just like you inherit that guy that's on your team coaching staff that's so sick. And then it's like, wait a second, he was born on third base.
So you think we should get Brian Kelly?
I think Brian Kelly would be a slam dunk hire for Ann Arbor, but you guys would hate that. I don't know why. The dude's been to 2 national title games.
I'd rather do Kalen DeBoer over Brian Kelly if I had to pick. And that's not recency bias. I like the way that guy operates.
I don't care.
Brian Kelly would recruit better.
If Brian Kelly comes here and starts winning, I do not care. Bring him
like about. Oh, okay. You're saying like as long as he wins.
Brian Kelly gets so much hate.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
He's got pretty good roots. Yeah, I mean, look at Notre Dame now.
Pretty good football coach.
They lose to Marshall. All right. I think that's our title game talk. We have a couple minutes left here for Lions, which we probably should give more to them, but it's a preview, and we're not big preview podcasts, but they are playing the Rams. The storylines are intense. My question for Evan, who's not here, is what I need to know from him is like what % of him is actually rooting for Stafford to beat us and do well, because he might be one of those fans that partially wants to see Stafford do really well in this game. I don't know. I would love to hear his thoughts. What do you guys think?
I want us to kill him. in a football sense.
Stafford won a Super Bowl.
No.
Leave us alone.
Do you think Evan is like sneaky, wants him to do well?
Evan has weird fandom shit that he does, and I would not be surprised if he had some like inkling for them to win. Like he roots for Minnesota Golden Gophers against Michigan State if Michigan State's struggling. Like it's just like, dude, what are you doing? So yeah, I mean, I think Evan wants the Lions to win ultimately, but I mean, like Big Cat said on PMT, like this is the cruelest thing that could possibly happen to the Lions fan base, and that we don't deserve this. And even he, a Bears fan, feels bad for us because it's just not it's not nice. It's not fair. But personally, I want to stomp Stafford into the ground. I hope we destroy him. I hope he throws 35 interceptions, and I hope it's a good riddance. See you later. Jared Goff is our guy. I'm fully in that camp until the game's over.
Mm-hmm.
I hope we win like 42-40. I hope Stafford throws for like 400 yards.
That's disgusting. Why would you ever root for that?
Cody.
As long as we win the game, I don't care. I would love. I love Stafford.
He's a good person.
He's nasty.
We're talking football right now, and I
grew up in front of my
want him to throw 7 picks and throw for negative 30 yards. That's what every Lions fan should want. If you don't want that, there's something wrong with you.
No, I just want to win.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think, like, people are like, are they going to boo him? Well, you can't really boo an opposing player specifically because they don't do introductions like that. But, like, they're going to boo the team when they come out. If let's just say this. If they ever did intro, like, just for each player for the away team in an NFL playoff game, I would not boo Stafford. I don't have that in me to boo him. But, like Alex said, when he's playing, I'm not going to, like, be quiet on a third down because I feel for Matthew Stafford. Like you're rooting to win the game. Like so,
I don't want the Rams to score 40 points and win by 2. I can promise I don't want that.
I don't have any mixed emotions about this one-track mindset. If anything, I'm supporting my guy JG because he is playing a coach on the other side that publicly dragged his name through the mud, being like, "This guy's a bum. I'm going to go to Cabo and drink Mai Tais with Stafford and laugh it up saying, F Jared Goff, I'm trading for you, buddy boy." And they did win a title, so good for them. But this is about Jared Goff. This isn't about Matthew Stafford. This is about Jared Goff.
Agree. You should not be. Nobody should be out there
and that's
supporting Stafford. They should be rooting for Goff.
Faux hawk.
To take down McVay.
On Sean McVay's head. Yeah. Keep the main thing. Just... I don't know how we're going to cover Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. I'll be totally honest. I don't know. I'm excited to find out because I have faith in this team, but I have no idea as I sit here on Tuesday figuring out how we're going to do it.
Is Melifonwu out?
No,
he's good.
Because he went down in the last game, right? Who was it that went down?
Branchford one play, and then he came back in.
We're going to need what Michigan did. We're going to need pressure on Stafford. Because our secondary is not going to be able to blanket these guys on islands. And will we get that? Hutch is playing good ball. He's playing really, really phenomenal ball. And I have faith it'll continue.
Time to turn it up a notch. It's the playoffs.
Strip sack, buzz cut Hutch is a different breed of a human being.
Not feeling good about Amon-Ra's hair, I'll be honest.
Oh, I love it.
I don't.
It looks like bubble gum.
It's bright. I like how bright it is. He did a great job on it. Like he went for it. And he feels you. I have a feeling that this is going to be a Gibbs special. I feel like Gibbs is just going to do crazy things.
I think it's just going to be a similar, but a backfield special. I think we're just going to run and run and run and run down their throats all game long. Because I think that's what we need to do.
Couple JMO end rounds.
We got to
control the clock.
Game. We got to
score touchdowns.
Condense this game.
Yep.
Are we talking about Michigan right now?
All right. I had to sit there and listen to you guys talk about Michigan for an hour and 50 minutes. So let's not talk about them for the last 20.
There's parallels there, though, Alex.
Last 20 minutes. Let's win with some class here.
Don't you want your pro team to be like the best college football team in the country?
I want you guys to win with class.
I agree. I don't really know if I have any other big storylines from this game. If I'm being honest, I
Sunday
don't do
night,
great with previews because it's
Chris
just
Collinsworth, Mike Tirico. Your thoughts on horny ESPN man?
I won't have to listen to him.
Do you think he mentioned something about an asterisk after we win the playoff game? Be good to shove that in Mike Tirico's face live in the postseason. Would. Started our season with them. Potentially finishing their season with them.
Stop that.
Ending, you're saying? Like a bad way? Oh. Alex, we have no time for that. I will say this. All Blues for sure.
The Blueberries.
I don't think there's going to be a single LA Ram fan in that building besides family and friends. I think it's going to be a torture chamber.
Nuts.
I will be watching
they're handing out. Are they handing out they're handing out pom poms, I think.
God, it's going to be
like
I'm jealous, Grant. Tell the people what you're going to be doing.
So I will be going. See you.
That's fantastic.
So jealous.
The year of football continues. I feel good. My attendance, lost the Iron Bowl. Would have stormed the field. I will never forget that. But I feel good about this. It just and again, my nerves will be lower because I'm in person getting to yell. So I'm thankful for that for my heart. But my voice, I told Alex I'm going to do my part. I'm going to drink tea all week. I'm going to have my pipes ready to go. I will be screaming like the TikTok meme that people send of that one guy that he's like the British guy. I'll just yell all game long.
I'll scream my head off in Dallas next week, so don't you worry.
Mm-hmm.
What a sports year for you.
Let's stay on topic here, boys.
Everyone, really.
No, I'm saying.
Well, in person games, but like just for us in general, there was a Michigan Lions fans. I saw a TikTok Marissa sent me. It was this guy being like, "I've waited for both these teams to be good my whole life, and they do it at the same time. This is too much to handle."
Like between the three of us, like we've gone to some awesome games this year.
I've been to one.
And 2 next week. We'll go to Dallas.
I went to Washington, Michigan State.
That's awesome.
First beer at Michigan Spartan Stadium.
Yes, you guys you had a 2023 year of greatness. Can't say the same for me, but arguably in one of the lowest moments of sports in my life.
But you also had one of the highest moments when we were in Arrowhead. So,
as a professional football game, yes, that was peak. Which is really depressing to think about because that was a season opener.
I had this talk a couple weeks ago with Marissa, but I think it might be a good reminder time. I was telling her, like, first year we've lived together. She's probably like, is this football going to take up like this much of his life? I was like, this is a very unique year. But yes, it's not going to be like this ever again.
But yes,
pretty much. I'm pretty much. I'm good.
Life.
No, I'm gonna be different. Like this has been a unique year where it's like I'm staying up later. I'm watching clips. It's consuming me. It's Alex freshman year, but it's not always going to be like this. It's just a weird year, and it happened to be the first year we lived together. So I had to let her know. Not
Score
always
predictions,
like this.
Lions, Rams.
Feels like it's got to be a lot of points, doesn't it? Feels like it. 35-24 Lions.
42-35 Lions.
Wow, what a game.
40 plus twice this year.
What a
31-20.
Instant classic.
Lions.
Hell yeah.
Alternate spread minus 6.5 is Alex's juicy bet. Also, I said yesterday, Michigan minus 9.5 alternate spread. Did not get placed because I live in Texas and I didn't want to put someone through that. But my bets would be hitting substantial amounts of money in the state of Texas if I were to be betting.
Oh, body language report from last week's game. I know Lions fans might be worried about that safety rotation now with CJ back. Well, I'm curious to see what they do against the Rams. I think it'll be matchup dependent. GJ played a ton of snaps, I think, because they're trying to get him ready to go for the playoffs. But you should know Kirby Joseph's body language was A-OK. He was celebrating with everyone, and he sat much of the game. So I don't know if he's going to be sitting in the playoff game. I'd imagine he'd play more because the Rams are more of a passing team. But body language vibes, team is still in good spirits. Maybe there's some wishing they were out there more, but no one's being a diva.
I mean, even Jerry Jacobs was hype on special teams, and bro's completely been benched.
He was hype. He was super hype.
New Year's resolutions.
Cody, what was your sports one again? I remember your one that you said for work, but I forgot what your sports one was.
You already failed.
I failed.
What was it?
Oh, it was to dip back into gambling.
Yeah, I mean it's a long season, obviously, but I haven't started yet.
Oh,
which I was sad about.
No,
not sad about it at the same time.
Pop, not even Baja Blast.
You've done this before, dude.
Committing
Come
this
on.
time.
Reasoning? Like, do you think it's a problem for you?
It's bad for you, and I just want to see if I can do it. Really.
Okay.
One I can't say. Go on 6+ dates this year in 2024. 6+. Last year was 3+. Achieved 6+ this year. And join a boxing club.
Wow.
And then my final one.
You came with 4.
Grow a beard. And I had a decent thing coming in when Cody got here, and I shaved it because I thought it looked like shit. So I still have not achieved it yet, but got all year.
Was that because of what I said?
Yeah, you told me it looks like shit, so I shaved it.
I didn't say it looked like shit, but like you did come out the next day without it, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, you're like, yeah.
It's a good friend, Cody.
It wasn't. It was only 3 days in, and it needed some time. Cody made a comment about it, and I was like, oh, I guess it won't be any time this week.
The in between stages are always.
I have to do it where it's like sandwich, where I have a long weekend, so I don't see anybody. So we might.
That might be a bad time. Sports one. What'd you have?
Well, it's just the same as last year. It's the exact same. Just do not re-download Twitter to see any sports takes. Do not. And I've been very good with that so far. We're holding on tight. And then just do not get upset with others for being dumb about sports. Just close your mouth and listen. Or don't listen, but just close your mouth.
Does that apply to like direct friends too?
Yes.
So you shouldn't get mad at me when I say something stupid.
That's why I'm saying it today, going forward.
Respectfully disagree, but don't get mad.
No, like do not argue. Just like let them live with their shitty point and do not counter it.
No, it's fun too. Like when we were with Matt on a camping trip.
No, like that's my exact scenario.
Like, that's fun.
Done with those. Like we're done with that.
That's fun. But what happens if you're
right? I'll know I'm right in my head. And I need to be better just being happy with being right without telling you that I was right. But Grant, you're just as bad at that.
What is the logistics of the Twitter ban look like? I can't do it right now because my team just won a title, but I'm thinking about doing it later in the offseason after the Lions. What is that? Like, how do you see content of your team? What does it look like
weird.
for you?
I don't use Twitter.
Well, okay, Cody's a little different because he follows like 2,000 things on Instagram, so it's all basically Twitter on his Instagram. That is cheating. It's very, very strange, let me tell you, Grant. Very weird. You feel like you're missing.
Do you read news articles?
Out on everything. You just don't know what's happening. Like, I just don't know what's happening. Like, I have to Google because I deleted my like CBS app and ESPN app, so I don't even have those. So I have to like Google Michigan State basketball to see when they play, like who they're playing next, when they play. And then when I Google that, I might read an article like keys to the game or something.
Is TikTok still a thing?
Yeah.
Like, do you guys use that? Does that have sports?
There's not sports.
I don't use it a ton. It does, but I think it's more like hot takes than anything.
And hot chicks.
Reasonable.
I never got on Twitter or TikTok. Twitter and TikTok, I never was a big fan.
Twitter, we're talking
was just everything wrapped together.
Consuming 14 hours of my life per week, roughly. Like, that's how much I used it. 2 hours a day. And so...
Has it been better? Would you say sports are better for you?
Like, I'm less plugged in, so I get less angry. Most of the stuff you look at, you get mad at. I miss stuff like seeing like a guy commit, like recruiting. Like, that's cool. I like those. I like seeing those.
So do you just like go to articles to see when people make those announcements now?
The good thing is if you don't have Twitter in this friend group, everybody sends you shit every day, all day long. So I'm almost not missing anything. Like the super noteworthy thing, someone is texting about it. So I get it anyways. And I don't have to seek it out. So it's like if I get a text, I guess my texting has probably gone up because of this.
I'm trying to justify my own actions. If Michigan State got really good in basketball or football, would you re-download to see all the extra stuff that you'd be missing out on?
Because you got Instagram,
positive.
I follow Michigan State basketball and Michigan State football on Instagram, and the Lions on Instagram, and that's enough.
See, I maybe I need to do that for sports. I don't follow any sports teams on Instagram. It's just like friends. So maybe I add sports into my feed and then I see it all.
Well, that's why I got so into like Premier League soccer and everything, because I follow all those accounts.
It follows like every team in the Premier League, though.
No, only 3.
That's weird.
Who are the 3?
Man City,
Arsenal,
Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool.
Just follows all these Premier League teams on Instagram.
Wrexham. Ryan Reynolds, I get
Ryan
it.
Reynolds.
I think that overall,
now
maybe I start
Miami,
getting rid of Twitter is good.
Some MLS teams.
All right. Cheers to episode 149. Alex.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
I do hope you get to experience this one day, Alex.